I'm Melody Hicks.
Hi, Melody. I like to go by Fox.
By Fox. Oh, well, please, and I'm going to call you Fox. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
I'm working with the behavioral health people here in correctional health, and I'm having an opportunity to go over these 2 questionnaires that you did, one about alcohol and drugs. And so, do you mind if I sit down and talk to you a little bit about
No,
that?
please sit down.
Oh, sure. Thank you. And also, thank you very much for doing these. I really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. I'm really excited about the program and the interview, so.
Good. Well, great. Well, I'm going to ask you a few questions about it. First off, what did you think of these 2 things when you filled them out?
I thought it was pretty basic.
Yeah.
Just some questions about my drug use, and I've done a lot of those in my life, so.
Okay. So nothing new, nothing surprising.
No, nothing surprising, no.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do, Courtney or Fox, is actually go over these with you in terms of your score. Because you answered all the questions, then we scored them, and then talk to you a little bit more about both of them, if that would be okay.
Oh, that's fine. How was my score?
Well, it's it's one of those things where you don't get an A, B, C, or D, kind of thing. The score actually for both of them, you fell into the risky level. They have low risk, moderate risk, high risk, and you fell into the risky area. Does that surprise you at all?
No.
Okay, all
I've
right.
been struggling with drugs since I was 10, so.
Okay, so that was pretty much fit the way you thought.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if we might start first with the drug screening questionnaire, if you don't mind. And I'll explain a little bit what the answers are and then ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, Fox, so here is what where you fail. You got a 7, and the 7 is in the substantial level, as you can see. And basically, when you're using drugs, it looks like you have quite a few checked here that you've used in the
Yes.
past. And so one of the questions I want to ask you particularly is a little bit about reasons why you use, what the benefits are. It's kind of an odd question, but when you're talking about substances, there's pros about what you get, benefits from why people use them,
Yes.
what it might provide, and of course there's a downside too.
Yes.
And I'm always curious as to, what might be some of the positive reasons you used, or some of the things you got from using drugs that you felt benefited you in some way.
Well, a lot of the drugs, like some of them, honestly, I would just use for fun, such as the hallucinogens like acid or ecstasy, MDMA, things like that. I would just use for fun at parties or things like that. Heroin I kind of used to escape from my life. I had a lot of traumatic things happen to me since I was like 3 and then on. So I pretty much felt like life was shitting on me
Yeah.
for a long time. So, I started using heroin at like 13 to get rid of a lot of those feelings. And then I would use meth to kind of come up from being so down on heroin. I'd be nodding out, falling asleep, so hit the meth pipe, and then I'd be able to go do some of the things that I needed to do, or some things I probably shouldn't have done. But
Okay, so a mixture. There's some things you did for fun,
Some
that you
things,
felt
yeah.
were enjoyable, and some other things you did to escape and to cope with some of the many things that you had to deal with in your life.
yes,
And then sometimes using meth just to cope, to counteract what you would be using in terms of heroin.
yes, exactly.
Okay, so a mixture. And then in terms of the downside for this, of the use, whether it was for fun or other reasons, for you, Fox, what were the downsides?
Well, when I started using heroin, I got stuck on heroin. Heroin was one that I got stuck on because not only did my mind get addicted to it, but my body did too. So I needed it in order to do anything. And without it, I would withdraw. It was hard for me to take care of, my son or his dad or work or anything else without getting my fix. Without my fix, I couldn't do anything. And therefore, I kind of just lost track of everything. The only thing I cared about at that point in time was heroin. So I lost everything. I lost my freedom. I lost my life.
So major losses.
Major losses, yeah.
Loss of, as you got more into heroin, you basically lost track of your son, your priorities, things that were important to you. And how long were you using heroin?
I've been using heroin on and off for 10 years.
Okay, for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. So a really major cost for you in terms of being able to use that. And as you look at all this and then you're looking ahead and thinking about the future and thinking about not using, is that something you feel you can do once you leave?
Oh yes, definitely. I have no desire or intention to use. I've done it for 10 years. It's gotten me here
Yeah.
and nowhere else. So, I've got big dreams, big plans for me and my son.
So a lot of big dreams. So do you have a sense of how you may go about making sure you don't get back into it? Because it sounds like there's a lot of things, reasons why you chose to use. So what's your plan as you think about looking ahead, says, this is going to make sure I'm going to go this path?
Well, I have lots of drug classes that I'm gonna start taking.
Okay.
I have a lot of support now. I don't have to deal with my son's dad, who was a big part of my drug use. So that's good.
Right.
It's going to be a lifelong challenge for me, but I can do it for my son. I mean, I feel like my son deserves it, and I haven't been the best mom, so I'm going to do better for him and for me.
So it sounds like you have a lot of confidence.
Yes.
You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very confident, 1 being not confident at all, where would you say you fit?
I'd say I'm like an 8 or a 9.
Okay, all right. And why not say 5 or 6?
Because all of that is in the past. Like, I've been there, I've done that. I haven't lived really a sober life. I mean, I started using drugs at 10. The first drug I started using was meth, and that was at 10 years old. So, I mean, I gotta try something new. I might as well, be sober and do what I need to do.
All right, so you have a plan, you've got support, feels like you have a lot of information you want to get as well as you want to continue to get about drugs.
Yes.
It sounds like it's very important for you in terms of your priority being your son,
Yes.
and that you want to be a better mom.
Yes.
That's very, very important to you. And so you have a lot of confidence that you can do this and that you can stay away from heroin
Yes.
and other drugs.
Yes. Definitely. I've been clean and incarcerated for 8 months. By the time I get out, it'll be 11. So I have some clean time, probably the most clean time in a long time that I've had. So.
Okay. So lots of confidence, and it feels like some plan about how you're going to go about doing it. So very motivated for that.
Yes.
So let me ask you a couple questions, because we were just talking about how confident you are. And you put 8, which is very confident. But what would it take for you to go from an 8 to a 10 that says, I have no doubt, I'm going to do this, 100%? What would it take?
All the drugs would have to be off the planet of the earth.
Okay. All right. So
Definitely.
reality is
Yeah.
they'd have to be totally eliminated
Yes.
from the world.
Yes.
Because otherwise there's a little bit. But yet I want to talk to you about motivation. You're very motivated to really make a difference here.
Yes.
And do you think that motivation can help propel you to continue to be confident?
Yes, definitely. Motivation could definitely help. I mean, you have to set a goal for yourself. I mean, if you don't set a goal for yourself, then where are you going?
Okay. All right. So that's a really important piece. You don't feel you could be 10 until there's no drugs in the world available.
Definitely.
But motivation, let's do that scale too, the 1 to 10 of how motivated you are to stay clean and to stay off any drugs. 10 being 100%, 1 being not at all.
Definitely a 10.
10, okay.
I'm very motivated, I'm determined, I'm ambitious, and I'm ready.
Okay,
Let me out of here.
all right, all right. So it's there, and then just the reality is, says drugs are out there and I've got to be conscious and aware of it.
Yes.
And use my support information I have, etc.
Yes.